We all need to keep an eye out for crime.
Because thieves will steal our cash, our cars, our valuables, just about anything they can get their hands on.
Fortunately, many other eyes are looking out for criminals too.
The police, local councils and businesses are using their own tricks and traps, together with cutting-edge technology to catch the bad guys.
Ka-ching, we've got you.
It was a great result to get that guilty plea.
And the public are using secret cameras to make sure the crooks get their comeuppance.
I can't let somebody like that ruin my life.
We are definitely outfoxed you this time.
Yes, they were brought to justice.
Don't call me Miss Marple for nothing.
So anyone who's up to no good had better think twice. They might just get caught red-handed. Today, family man David doesn't get out that often for a night in town. But one evening when he does, he's targeted by 3 muggers on the way home. They chase after him and launch a violent assault to steal his cash.
It was scary. It's your worst nightmare. I thought I was going to die.
David is unable to defend himself against the surprise attack. But the police, using new state-of-the-art technology, are set to spring a surprise of their own. Also today, Nathaniel, who works at a convenience store, is horrified when a man comes in brandishing a bottle and threatens he'll throw acid at him unless he hands over cash from the till.
What could have done to my face if it was thrown over me, it would have changed my life.
It's a serious crime. And Detective Abby Freeman needs to find this attacker quickly.
Police officers who are about to challenge him are also going to be at threat as well, and any members of the public.
Also later, Jennifer runs a local laundrette and works all hours to keep the machines turning. But then a series of thefts, some in broad daylight, start to threaten her business.
How dare they just come and take something? It's hard to recover.
But one of the thieves hasn't looked closely enough at who he's stealing from. For many of us, smartphones and their clever apps have become an essential part of everyday life. And the police are making full use of these high-tech devices to keep one step ahead of the criminals. Southend-on-Sea is a popular holiday resort only 40 miles from London. Local resident David grew up in the area. He's worked in the building trade here ever since he left school.
In 1998, I went straight into construction, fell straight into it, loved every part of it. Thought I could pick it up quite quickly, which I did.
David and his partner have 3 children. He's always been a hard worker because he wants to help his family enjoy a good life.
I've got 3 mouths to feed, so you have to work hard for them. My partner works, we both work. We like the finer things in life, you know, so we like the holidays, we like the designer clothes, but we go out there and work.
As well as working hard, every so often David goes out to enjoy Southend's thriving nightlife. On such evenings, he normally gets a cab home. But one night recently, David decides to walk home alone in the early hours, a decision he is to regret. It's a Friday night and David's out celebrating after having a big win on a slot machine. He's decided to take his brother out for a treat before spending the rest on his family the next day.
I won £1,300 and I took my brother out and a few friends, letting our hair down, as they say.
While David and his mates relax and let their hair down, Essex police officers are very much on their toes because they're used to seeing trouble on Friday nights in Southend. Frontline officers have special apps on their smartphones which enable them to watch live pictures from the council's CCTV street cameras. Southend District Commander Neil Pudney has seen the value of this new phone app at first hand.
I think the introduction of the technology has changed things completely for the officers because they're now able to access information really quick time, live time, whilst they're out on patrol.
And officers on patrol near where David is socialising are keeping a watchful eye on one particular council camera feed. The camera operator is monitoring a car park where two men are suspiciously skulking around behind a van.
It really was a skilled, trained eye. They've obviously seen something might be going on, and really it's a little bit of a sixth sense.
The pair look like they're waiting for somebody, and they are. David. It must have been noticed that he's carrying a large amount of cash, and these men are planning to steal it.
I was in the bars, pubs, casino, whatever, lashing out the cash, you know? So maybe they clocked that and followed me around.
It's now 4:30 a.m, and one of the suspicious pair in the car park beckons over a third man who's been buying takeaway food across the street. They've seen David walking towards them, and it looks like they've decided this is their chance to pounce. As David crosses the car park, he's oblivious to the men. He's totally focused on getting home.
I was too busy thinking in my bed. I just didn't notice anybody.
But police officers on patrol using the app have noticed the men, and they've asked the council's CCTV operator to keep tabs on them. The officers viewing the live pictures now realise what's happening and head to the location, but there's some distance away. They need to get there quickly. Out of camera view, one of the robbers runs up to David and hits him hard on the head. The other men go over to join the violent attack.
Don't know what they hit me with, it could have been a punch, but I just remember going all dizzy.
One of the men puts David into a painful headlock.
It was scary, it's your worst nightmare. I thought I was going to die. There was three of them, you don't know what's going to happen.
One of them treads on David's foot and as he's pulled to the ground, keeps it there.
While he was pinning me down, another one was going down my pockets.
He resists as much as he can, but he's heavily outnumbered.
I'm trying to fight them off and move and stuff, but that was just overpowering. There was nothing I could do.
The man steals a wad of banknotes from David's pocket and the assault continues. But then, suddenly, a car with headlights blazing approaches the group. This takes the muggers by surprise, and they release their grip on David.
I was taken back by it. I didn't really realise what was going on.
It's the police, and they have arrived in the nick of time. Two of the men make a run for it, and the officers jump out of the car and chase after them. The highly skilled CCTV operator moves the cameras to keep them in view. As the foot pursuit continues, back in the car park, more police arrive. They arrest one of the attackers and help David.
When I got up, my head was agony, you know? So then the police had told me, I think you need to go to hospital.
While an officer takes David to A&E, one of the escaping muggers is caught and handcuffed. The third man is still on the loose and manages to put some distance between himself and the officer pursuing him. But the officer doesn't give up. He asks a passerby, who's rather worse for wear, which direction the man went in. The camera operator sees where the passerby is pointing and goes looking for the fugitive. Then he breaks cover and the officer is hot on his heels again. A few metres down the road, the man stops. He's so exhausted he can't run anymore. The officer arrests him. Now, all three men have been apprehended. At the hospital, David is checked over and discharged. He goes home, where his worried partner is waiting.
I've had to explain to her what's gone on. She was just mortified. She just could not believe it.
The next day, a detective visits David at home. He tells him that all of his attackers have been caught and explains how the police were able to get there so quickly.
I was relieved that they were off the streets. He explained to me that the police, they've got this new system, and thank God they've got that, because I probably wouldn't be sitting here now.
This is the first time David has seen the CCTV footage of the attack.
It's horrible, absolutely shocking. That's terrifying. Didn't stand a chance. They had this all planned. Absolutely shocking.
One of the muggers was later found to be carrying a knife. David can now see how close he might have been to not coming home that night.
Thank God for the police.
When he watches the incident, even experienced Officer Neil is stunned by how the man standing on David's foot casually carries on eating.
The third guy, completely desensitised, eating his food, just probably indicates the disregard that he had for the victim's feelings.
Neil's impressed not only by the teamwork of his officers and the CCTV operator, but also by the effectiveness of the smartphone app.
We were able to get there within seconds and actually solve a crime that potentially a few years ago we may not have solved. So a real game changer in terms of policing.
In court, all three men pleaded guilty to robbery and were sentenced to a combined total of over 10 years in prison. In the end, David got his money back and decided to spend it as soon as he could.
It was bad luck in my eyes, the money. I'm quite superstitious, so I said, I don't even want the money. Let's go and buy my son a new bike. So we bought him his new bike he wanted, and he was over the moon.
This clumsy crook has just crawled through a cat flap he's created in an animal shelter. He's headed straight for the kiddie's sweet dispenser, not because he has a sweet tooth, but because he's after a small change in the machine. He seems very keen to get the dispenser out of the building, presumably so he can break into it at home. His plan is to take it out the way he came in, but he's struggling. With sweets flying everywhere, he's got himself into a rather sticky situation. Eventually, he realises what all the rest of us can tell at a glance, that the base of the dispenser is way too big to fit through the door panel. So he comes up with plan B, trying to prise the cash container off the machine here. But the tool he's using clearly isn't the sharpest in the box, as indeed neither is he. The thief eventually notices that there's a bigger door which he can get the dispenser through. And outside, after a lengthy struggle, he manages to hoist it over the fence before making off into the night. He's still at large, but won't be showing his face anytime soon, because this farcical footage has gone viral, and viewers have pointed out that all the time this oddball is struggling with a gumball machine, he's failed to notice the animal shelter's collection money on a nearby table. A box stuffed with banknotes worth far more than the pennies in the sweet machine. So rather than enjoying the sweet smell of success, the thief has been left with a bitter taste of disappointment. A man walks into a local shop and pulls out a bottle, which he chillingly tells the assistant is full of acid. He demands money or else. The shop assistant has a split second to decide what to do next, a decision which could change his life forever. "36-year-old Nathaniel has lived in Middlesbrough all his life.
I've always had my own money. I've been independent since I was 18.
After spending many years in the hospitality industry, Nathaniel decided to work in retail instead and took a job at a local general store and post office.
They're all very lovely customers, really kind, pleasant, always bubbly.
Nathaniel was soon promoted from shop assistant to store supervisor.
If you want something in life, you've got to work for it.
But some people don't want to work for their money. They'd rather steal other people's, as Nathaniel is about to find out in a sudden and terrifying way. It's 6 a.m. and Nathaniel's in the shop getting everything ready. When just after opening up, a masked man bursts in and rushes menacingly towards him. Nathaniel's standing behind the counter off camera.
I seen the mask and then he said, give me the money. And I just thought, oh God, to be in a situation like that where you've never been in, it's terrifying.
And it becomes even more terrifying when the man takes a bottle out of a bag, points it at Nathaniel and tells him it's full of acid.
I was shaken. If it was acid and it was thrown over me, it would have changed my life.
Despite being in a state of shock, Nathaniel recognises the man from the parts of his face he can see beneath the balaclava. He's one of the shop's customers.
He's got bad acne, so that's how I identified him.
Nathaniel calmly presses the silent panic alarm to alert the police that a crime is in progress, and he bravely refuses to give the man any cash out of the till.
There was a large quantity of money on that day, and I said, "You're not getting the money."
Nathaniel pushes the bottle away, grabs a magazine to use as a shield, and tries to distance himself from the man.
I thought, is he going to attack me or isn't he?
He can see drops of liquid that have fallen from the bottle onto the counter.
It was like white, like it burned, so what could it have done to my body or to my face?
But he still refuses to hand over any cash and then makes a break for it through the front door of the shop.
I did run, because it was terrifying.
The thief vaults the counter, and because the till is locked, starts grabbing packs of cigarettes. Outside, Nathaniel phones 999.
Hello, police, can I help? Can you send the police? I'm getting robbed. Said, give me the money now with a bottle of acid. I've run out. Got acid. He's in the shop now, when he's gone.
But not for long. The crook leaves through the front door of the shop, clutching the stolen cigarettes. 3 miles away at Middlesbrough Police Headquarters, the duty detective Abby Freeman has been listening to the 999 call over the police radio. She only joined the CID a month ago. This will be her first major case.
Acid has heightened the threat level massively. In the same category would have been using a knife or even a gun.
It's a great help to Abby that Nathaniel has recognised the attacker.
Nathaniel's named a suspect, which is very few and far between for us, to be honest with you.
Then, new information comes in. A man wearing a balaclava has been seen at a local address just minutes after the robbery. Officers head straight there. They are aware this could be a highly dangerous situation.
The suspect is running around with a bottle of acid, so police officers who are about to challenge him are also going to be a threat as well, and any members of the public.
When they arrive at the man's home, the officers spot him outside having a cigarette. They see he doesn't have the bottle with him and go to arrest him. The man rushes inside.
The dog section were there first, and they head into the address and manage to detain and arrest him there and then.
It's taken less than half an hour to locate and arrest the suspect. So apart from changing his clothes, he's not had much time to hide incriminating evidence. Officers find the stolen cigarettes, and that's not all.
There's an orange bag that has been found at the back door containing clothing, a black balaclava, the high visibility jacket and some jogging bottoms.
The officers notice a strong odour coming from the bag of clothes.
There's a pungent smell from some sort of like turpentine, paint and substance coming from them.
It looks like the robber might have used paint thinner, pretending it was acid. Still a very unpleasant substance to have thrown in your face, but not as dangerous. And the officers then find further evidence in the bathroom. A washing up liquid bottle, identical to the one used in the crime.
It was crucial that we found out what was inside that bottle. Was it actually turpentine or was it acid? So it was sent off for testing.
The suspect is taken to the police station, where despite all the evidence found at his house, he denies the crime. He claims a man came to his house selling cigarettes but saw the police arrive and ran away, leaving the cigarettes behind. Abby listens carefully to his story.
I want him to tell me everything so I can challenge what the inconsistencies are.
A few days later, some more incriminating evidence arrives from the forensic lab. The man's DNA is found on the washing up liquid bottle. The lab also confirms what was in the bottle.
It turns out that it wasn't acid, it was actually a sort of a dirty terps mixed with some sort of paint.
Surprisingly, the suspect still claims he is innocent, which means the case must go to court for trial by jury. But Abby's well-prepared case proves to be conclusive.
The jury were out of the room for about 25 minutes before they made a full decision and guilty on the full lot.
The 33-year-old man was given a substantial sentence, 5 years in prison. Abby and Nathaniel are both delighted with the outcome.
It was my first case and it gave me a sense of job satisfaction that this is what I'm doing the job for.
He got a sentence for what he'd done and he's not on the streets no more, so I was happy.
A laundrette CCTV shows how it's repeatedly targeted by thieves. Once, twice, 3 times the owner is left counting the cost. One crook even returns to steal again the same day, but he's picked the wrong victim. This launderette in Loughborough has been run by Jennifer for the last 4 years. She first started working here when she was 19.
I did not expect to be here 15 years on owning the place, which is very scary, but it's something now I can call my own.
But it's hard work. To stay afloat, the launderette needs to be open every day, and Jennifer regularly has to work a 62-hour week. Because she also offers a parcel collection service with hundreds of packages arriving every week. Despite the long hours, she's determined to make her business a success.
I like doing my job because of the people that you meet, from old to young, from all different nationalities. So yeah, we do get a lot of interesting people and a lot of stories.
But recently, the launderette, as well as being a meeting place for friendly locals, was also becoming a magnet for parcel thieves.
You've got to have your wits about you. I've been conned quite a few times.
So she's installed high-definition security cameras. And they soon prove useful when her business is hit by a series of crimes in rapid succession. The spate of thefts begins on a Monday night in March, when Jennifer is in the launderette on her own. 2 men come in. One heads round to speak to Jennifer, who's in the machine area.
How much is it for a washer and dryer?
But that man is just distracting her while this one leans over the counter and steals one of the parcels waiting to be collected. As soon as he's out of the door, his accomplice also leaves. Later, when Jennifer realises the parcel is missing, she checks the CCTV and sees what's happened.
How dare they just come and take something when that's not even it's not mine, it was somebody else's.
The thieves are never caught, but Jennifer has the last laugh on this occasion. They will get a surprise when they open the package.
They got a parcel that later on we've discovered had just 2 pairs of ladies' pants in.
But not long after, Jennifer's launderette business is dealt a more serious blow. 2 thieves break in late one night and steal £400.
It makes you feel like, why am I doing all this? The overhead is very, very high. So when something like this happens, it's quite a lot out of a monthly pay. It's hard to recover.
And as with the first crime, these thieves aren't caught either. Jennifer starts to fear for the future of her business.
I was constantly watching the CCTV when I was sat at home. It just makes you very on edge, very on edge.
And she's right to be on edge. The local thieves are so brazen, they'll even target her business in broad daylight. On a Friday afternoon, this young couple walked past and noticed the counters unattended. Seconds later, they are back. Behind the counter, Jennifer has another pile of people's parcels waiting to be collected. The pair grab the biggest box they can find and make off with it. Jennifer's in the other room near the washing machines and doesn't even realise they've been in. Unbelievably, half an hour later, they're back again. The man stays on his phone outside while his accomplice dangles over the counter to reach the parcels in full view of passers-by. But this time, Jennifer hears them.
I noticed a commotion at the counter, so I went round to check it, and there she was just leaning over the counter to take a parcel that was on the floor.
You can call on CCTV anyway!
Obviously, she was doing a runner with it.
But before they scarper, Jennifer sees the man's face and realises that she recognises him from when she was younger.
He used to do a lot of MCing, So he was like well known to quite a lot of people around here, especially for the club scene. He's obviously turned the wrong path.
The man sees Jennifer and either doesn't remember her or doesn't care.
And I shouted him by his name.
I know who you are though.
He looks round and he likes laughing, and then he rides into the bin. Yeah, it was sort of a little bit of karma. He made a fool of himself, which put a little light onto the bad situation.
But Jennifer's mood soon darkens when she looks down the parcel pile and notices another large box is missing. When she watches the CCTV and realises it was stolen earlier by the same couple, she's furious.
I was angry at the fact that they dare come back and did it again. I just felt a bit violated in a way.
Totally fed up, Jennifer decides to fight back. As well as reporting the crime to the police, she starts doing some detective work of her own.
I knew him, and the other one, well, I just needed her name. I knew who she was and that she was a partner, I just didn't know her name.
And Jennifer's research soon pays dividends. The man should have been more careful who he targeted. She still has all his details on her phone.
He was a friend of mine on Facebook. He was somebody that had probably a good 20, 30 mutual friends.
Jennifer clicks on his profile page and sees that a woman is listed as his partner. Clicking on her name brings up her profile page, and Jennifer sees it's the same woman who stole the parcel.
She looks quite different now to what she does on Facebook. So I obviously needed then people to confirm what I was seeing was true.
She puts the video of the thieving couple online and gets a flurry of responses confirming both their identities.
The morning after I woke up, it was inbox full of names. It did make me feel really wanted when people were willing to help you out, even though it could backfire on them, but they're still willing to be able to help me.
When the police later visit the laundrette to get a statement about the crime, Jennifer hands over her investigation dossier.
I had all the information by the time they came to see me. Names, dresses, everything that I could find, basically.
Thanks to Jennifer's detective work, the pair are quickly arrested and charged with theft. In court, they both pleaded guilty and were sentenced to complete a community order, undergo drug rehabilitation and pay compensation. In the last 5 months, Jennifer has boosted her security and not suffered any further crime. She's still working all hours to help her business thrive.
I'm not going to let it batter me down. I will always still be here with a smile on my face, opening the door each morning. Yeah, I love it.
No, just bring it down anytime.
That's it for today, and that's it for a few more criminals who've been caught red-handed.
Keeping it in the family next on BBC One, but will they turn a profit? Jewellery, gems and a rather fetching bucket coming your way. Bargain hunt in just a moment.